Hi, my name is Shaun Marshall. I'm the founder and director of Prosumer Connect. Thanks for joining us today. I've got the pleasure of having Mr. Garth de Klerk here from the Insurance Crime Bureau, and I'm in the fortunate position of unpacking the annual results with you for 2022. So Garth, thank you very much for joining. Looking forward to some insightful wisdom from your side.
Thanks very much, Shaun. It's always a pleasure spending time with you talking about the industry.
Great stuff. Garth, before we jump right into it, I'd like you to take a second, because the ICB was founded in 2008. I think you guys have come a very long way, and not without its challenges, I'm sure. So I'd like you to unpack just, your journey from 2008 up to date, and some critical milestones when you think about the period from 2008.
Yeah, what a journey it was as well. In 2008, we were established by the insurance industry, by the non-life industry. In those days, we used to call it the short-term insurance industry, under the guidance of Hugo van Zyl, who was and still is the chief operating officer of the organization. And we were tasked to become the central intelligence hub of the insurance industry, with the mission of detecting and mitigating risk around insurance fraud and the crimes related to insurance fraud. Now, in South Africa, we've talked about it before, insurance fraud is a contact sport, so you don't do fraud without crime.
Correct.
Over the years, we've developed a lot of community relationships, and at the very core of our organization, we have always kept in mind, we cannot act by ourselves. It is of incredible importance that we have friends around us, stakeholders, our members, our law enforcement agencies, the national prosecuting authorities, to work with us to combat crime.
Yeah.
So when I joined in 2015, really what was needed to be done was to develop a strategy with the board to take the organization to the next step.
Okay.
Hugo and the team had developed a very, very strong operational model, which was easily scalable, easily portable. The challenge was to tell the story of what we had done.
Yeah.
And that, I suppose, Shaun, was that part of the journey. We moved from 16 members in 2015. We went up to about 17 or 18 members in 2017. In 2017, we developed our long-term strategy, what we call the 5-year plan. And I remember at the time, I was still sitting thinking, 5 years, we've got plenty of time to do it. And that's now. So 2022, 5 years later, reminiscing on the journey, it's been a fantastic journey. We now have 34 insurance licenses that we operate on behalf of.
Awesome.
The team has expanded not only into the non-life industry, we've seen great growth in non-life, but we've also established a presence in the life industry.
Okay.
Which is fantastic, because we really then are able to cross-pollinate and attack these syndicates where they operate in the bigger insurance sector.
Absolutely.
So we're now just over 60% non-life, just under 40% life, and 34 insurance licenses. We also have 7 associate memberships. So the growth that we've seen has been phenomenal, based on a very strong operational model, a very positive model that is adding benefit to the industry.
Okay.
So a great journey, Shaun.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It always reminds me of that saying, it took 5 years to become an overnight success,
100% correct.
That's what it's all about. So Garth, one of your values is ensuring the industry stands together as a community. So talk to us about the membership. You've just touched on, you've got 34 members and those kind of things. What kind of growth have you seen over the last year? And more importantly, where are you going? What is your target? Because if I'm not mistaken, there's in excess of 100 non-life registered insurers. So where to from here, and what's that goal for you? What's the next 5 years goal?
So without sounding too pedantic, our goal is to be the best insurance intelligence hub within the sector.
Yeah.
When you talk about what is our goal in terms of growth, we are continuously faced with opportunities of new memberships. In 2022 period, we've had about a 15% growth in revenue.
Wow.
Which is, in these particular times, actually quite troublesome. Because when we talk about growth, we talk about growth in the funding of fighting crime. And when you're seeing that type of growth in revenue, it means that there's a problem when it comes to crime.
Yes.
We have endless opportunities on the life side. As you said, over 100 members. We've probably got about 12 at the moment.
Yeah.
There are still a number of the bigger players that we are trying to attract and trying to encourage to become part of the community and fund our efforts in combating physical crime within the life sector.
Yeah.
And Shaun, you know, there's a lot of very physical murder for money schemes
Yeah.
and some loss of life on that side. Yeah. So it's a very important sector for us to grow into.
Absolutely.
So great opportunities.
Garth, and I think, you know, just touching off and going slightly off script there, I mean, it makes sense, and the industry should in actual fact spend significantly more money on combating fraud, because if you have a look at crime statistics and those kind of things, we're seeing record numbers these days, you know. So if crime is at that level, surely the effort and the impact and the contribution should be doubled to bring it down to scale again.
Shaun, thanks for that. Really, what you've touched on is very key. We're not looking to double the contributions. We're looking to double the number of contributors to fighting crime in South Africa. We can spend all day talking about crime, corruption, infrastructure collapse. We can talk about the losses that we suffered last year in the July riots. We can talk about the more recent floods. We can talk about the increased poverty driving insurance fraud and crime, whether it's opportunistic or desperate. We can spend all day talking about challenges. The Insurance Crime Bureau has rather chosen to focus on what positive opportunities we've got. And that's what amazes us, is that there are so many people in South Africa that have stayed in South Africa, that remain committed to South Africa, that want to be part of the solution.
Yeah.
And that's what's so positive about us. And we've just recently released a note where we talk about a positive attitude can result in meaningful change.
Yeah.
And those are the contributors that we want to bring on board. Is to say, we understand it costs money to fight crime.
Yeah.
It's frustrating. We pay taxes.
Yeah.
We should have this automatically as part of our services.
Yeah.
We don't. Okay,
Yes.
let's move on. Let's look for opportunities to support South Africa.
Yes.
How do we protect each other? So that's the doubling of the contributors.
Yes.
We need to do more.
So I think that's the essence of it. You know, what you guys are trying to achieve is an industry, even a country issue that you're trying to address. Obviously, your focus is on the non-life and the life insurers, but the fact of the matter is, and taking you just back to the figures that you mentioned to me, how many members you've got and how many licenses is out there, there's too many players still on the sideline, unfortunately, and we need to get those guys into the game instead of allowing the few that is in the game to obviously bear the brunt of the costs and those kind of things. Correct. So that's basically what I get from that.
100% Shaun, and I think this is why creating awareness, having discussions, let's sit down and discuss the difficult points, the catch points. What we're seeing that the Insurance Crime Bureau does for the market is just the tip of the iceberg. There's this whole big block underneath the surface of efforts that we are putting in to combat crime within South Africa and physical crime, non-related insurance.
Sure.
So we are seeing the opportunity in 2023 to expand our product further into further markets, and I'm sure we'll talk about it later. But it is to bring people that are sitting on the sidelines in. So bring something to the party.
Absolutely. Garth, and on that point, I've noticed when I had a look at your past statements and financials and those kind of things, I can definitely see there's an increase in expenses as well, you know, and you guys highlight that people and technology are 87% or something like that of your bill, you know, so clearly you guys are investing more and more money into the efforts of combating insurance fraud.
Correct. And I think that is very important in the context of over the period from 2018 to 2021, we saw something like a 47% increase in revenue.
Yes.
And along with that revenue, we had the opportunity to reinvest in the organization.
Yeah.
So you're correct, 87% out of our expenses is people and systems.
Wow. Yeah.
We believe in creating capacity in the organization. We have a very effective learnership program. Over the last couple of years, we've brought in and improved 15 different learners.
Wow.
I think around 12 of them we've retained in the organization, and they're starting to move into back office management, they're starting to move into investigations. The one is in fact central to our vehicle crime fighting team.
Wow.
That team, just as an aside, was awake until 1 o'clock this morning chasing one of the vehicle crime syndicates in South Africa.
Jeez.
So when we invest in people, we're not investing in 9-to-5ers. We're investing in people who are committed to the cause.
Passionate.
So passionate people who are really wanting to make a difference in South Africa.
Yeah.
Similarly, on the technology side, yes, we've invested millions of rands in technology. We believe in utilizing artificial intelligence. We've got a lot of data that is available to us.
Yeah.
We've spent a lot of time and effort over the last couple of years cleaning the data.
Okay.
Because you know data, Shaun, some of it's noise. And
Yeah.
if you have too much noise in the room, you can't see the truth. So we've spent a lot of money cleaning our data, storing our data, interrogating our data, and looking at how we can use that data to combat crime within the industry.
Okay.
Unfortunately, just as an aside, not being a credit bureau, we are not allowed to make raw data available to our members. So we provide them with intelligence. We provide them with intelligence that works, intelligence that's relevant, and that they can then use in their own organizations to improve their systems and processes.
Fantastic. Look, and it takes us back to, the people on the sideline and those kind of things, because fundamentally ICB is a business. You've got a budget and you need to adhere to that. And that budget only allows so much crime fighting. You can only do with the resources that you have got. And that's why it comes in again, that we need to continuously grow the ICB so that you can get involved in more things, because your budget is your budget. You can only do so much.
Stretch it so far.
Absolutely. But Garth, I want to just draw your attention. So I've noticed that your reserves, you guys have been, building up quite a nice reserve over the years since 2008. Can you just talk to us about what's the intent with that reserves? What is the plan around it, and why keep on growing that reserve from a financial standpoint?
Sure. So there are two real intentions behind the reserve. The first one is pragmatic.
Okay.
It's a financial reserve that allows our auditors to look at the organization and say it's a going concern.
Okay.
A few years ago, when we set the strategy back in 2017, the Insurance Crime Bureau was not financially flush.
Okay.
And as a board, we decided that over a period of time, we would build up a financial reserve which would allow the organization to feel more comfortable.
Okay.
So our target at the time was 6 months of expenses. I think we've only achieved about 5 so far.
Okay.
We took the decision, rather than the existing members funding a reserve, let's conservatively build up a reserve over the 5 years. So again, it's something that we've worked on and achieved. The second intent of the reserve is that if there is a special project, which we are actually faced with one now, where we are able to, rather than go to the existing members and again say, please can we have funding, we are able to just dip into that reserve and fund that project.
Okay.
Obviously, the funding is expended with the approval of the board, so it's not something that Hugo and myself decide we're going to buy extra toys for the team. But it allows us to quickly access funds to fight crime.
Okay.
And this particular project is very high profile at the moment.
Okay, that's fantastic. And look, I see the interest gained from the reserves is also doing its bit for you guys.
100%.
So, make your money work for you.
100%, Shaun. And being a non-profit organisation, when that Reserve Bank hikes the interest, we're going fantastic.
Garth, I want us to turn our attention now towards member benefits. So I want us to talk a bit about this. So you guys generally refer to ROI and ROE and those kind of things, right? So can you just explain to us, how do you measure a return on investment for your members, and then talk us about basic statistics, so what is that average ROI that you return, and what's the benefit for the member companies being part of the ICB?
So you're correct. One of the challenges the organisation has always had is that we are a non-profit organisation. We are not a charity.
Sure.
We have real expenses. We've got real people working until 1 o'clock in the morning. We've got real systems, and they are sexy and effective and expensive systems. So whenever we're having a discussion with an existing member or a potential member, we need to be in the position where we can say, if you invest money and time with the Insurance Crime Bureau as a community initiative, these are the returns that you're going to get. As you've highlighted, ROE, return on investment, is a financial measure. So for every R1 that you invest with us, what type of return are we going to give you? Now there we measure, we recover vehicles from the pounds. We use license plate recognition technology to track vehicles and to recover cloned vehicles. We mitigate claims. So before you've paid a claim, whether it's on the non-life or the life side, we can run a significant claim through the system, and we can say, listen, you don't have to pay that claim. You can avoid it, or you can reject it, or however your terminology works. So there's a physical RAND saving. There's about 7 areas that we measure, including, as I said, vehicles, LPR, blood reports, pathology reports. We do general inquiries, which are investigations on behalf of the industry. Each one of those areas, we can put a financial measure to it to say, we saved you X, Shaun. It's not a guess by the Insurance Crime Bureau. It's a discussion that we have with our member. Secondly, it's not something that we get remunerated on. So we don't go back to the member and say, listen, we saved you 50 Rand, we're going to increase your fee next year. That's not what it's about. It's in order to measure the financial benefit that this effort gives back to the industry.
Absolutely.
Now, when we talk statistics, currently life to date, our ROI is over 680%. I think exactly it's about 686 or 690%.
That's fantastic.
So that means over the period 2008 to 2022, if you had invested R1 million with us, you would have gotten back 6.9, 6.8 million Rand, which is a significant investment. Over the last 12 months, we've seen that increase to over 1,000% in 12 months. Similarly, if you had given us R1 million, we would have given you over 10 million Rand back. Now, I like to say that's better than Bitcoin. That's better than any cryptocurrency, and it's more sustainable. It's also more valuable because we're saving lives. We are protecting South Africa as a community. So whenever we go to an existing member or a potential CFO or potential CEO, it now makes the discussion quite easy to say, if you invest R1 with the ICB, you're going to get 1,000% return. There are not many investments that will give you that type of financial return. But Shaun, if I may, more importantly, return on effort is what makes me sleep well at night. Because return on effort is things that we can't measure. Let's take 2 cases, for example, what we call blue light gains, and I'm sure every South African out there knows what a blue light gain is. It's not your politician driving past you. It's when somebody stops you in the middle of the night and they've got a blue light and a little golfie or polo or whatever it might be, and they rob you because you think they're police. We target these syndicates that are doing it. We profile them. We work with law enforcement. We identify them, we find out where they are, and we mitigate the risk around them continuing to operate. We assist law enforcement in the arrest, in the prosecution, and hopefully the conviction. On the life side, there's been a number of cases. Sergeant Rosemary was in the news most recently, where this SAPS individual, South African Police Services individual, was slowly murdering her whole family. We were significantly involved in the profiling, in the investigation, in the prosecution of the case to stop this individual. Now, Sergeant Rosemary is a public case. Everybody's aware of it. We can talk about it. I can tell you we have multiple such cases. There's a lady at the moment that is working through a 3rd or 4th husband that she's murdered. And we are able to, through the manipulation of data, through the interrogation of intelligence, stop these individuals.
Yeah. So you're actually avoiding future potential losses. So it's difficult to quantify those, and that's why you're referring to ROE, because that effort is difficult to quantify, because syndicates keep on doing this. People that operate it, if you take a gang out of the cycle, how much money are you saving the industry by doing that? But I get what you're saying. It's very difficult to go to member companies and say,
But Shaun, it's also more important to say it's not the money we save, it's the individuals.
True.
The next time you are driving down the road and there's not a blue light gang behind you, it might have been because we were able to work with law enforcement to take them out of the operation. It might be your wife. It might be your daughter, your son. It might be one of your family relatives that we've saved from the same operation. Similarly, when we take these murderers out of circulation, they stop murdering. And that's what makes the ROE so attractive. And that's where the investors in the Insurance Crime Bureau are doing such a fantastic job for South Africa.
Absolutely. Look, it doesn't always resonate with everybody, but the job that you guys do is so personal, and I love the fact that you take it down to family members, making people aware of the impact that you guys have got. Because to the average businessman or membership, they want to know how much return am I getting, apart from the fact that it's the right thing to do, because it's our social responsibility to curb it, to look after our clients and those kind of things. But I especially love the idea, and I can see why your team is so passionate about what they do, because if that's the message that you're sharing with your employees and your guys that's working with you, it touches each individual, and I think that's fantastic.
Thank you.
So Garth, just in summary, everything that you've mentioned to me right now, it sounds like from a financial perspective, 2022 was a decent year for the ICB.
It was fantastic, Shaun. And, not only financially, but from an operational support point of view. We are starting to see the model of the Insurance Crime Bureau being accepted and being integrated within our membership base. We're starting to see an acceptance and a responsibility, but most importantly, a pride. And that's what excites me the most, is that when we hear our members talk about the Insurance Crime Bureau as if they work with the Insurance Crime Bureau or for the Insurance Crime Bureau, that's what it's about. It's that community sense of responsibility, of acceptance. So it's been a fantastic year. We're looking forward to the next one.
Fantastic. Then Garth, just for the community and general public, how, when and where will you be publishing your annual report, and how would people be able to get hold of it? And then in the same breath, is there anything else we can look forward to from the ICB? Any great things happening in the near future?
So Shaun, as far as the report is concerned, we will be hopefully approving the report at our next board meeting mid-November.
Okay.
We will then release it shortly after that on all of our social media and on our website. We will send it out electronically to our membership basis, and we hope that our membership base will assist in circulating that report. So look out for it on social media, look out for it on our website, and our members would have received it and circulated that report for us as well. So that will happen between mid-November and the end of November.
Fantastic.
Next, for the ICB, there's a lot of exciting things on the horizon. One of it will be increased communication.
Okay, that's essential.
And this is where we encourage any party that is involved in the industry in fighting crime to get involved in spreading the awareness. Again, it's not about the Insurance Crime Bureau. It's about protecting the community from syndicates or criminals that are abusing our fellow South Africans. On our website at saicb.co.za, there is a wealth of intelligence and knowledge around what is the latest modus operandi, how are syndicates approaching you, how are syndicates abusing individuals, and what to do to avoid that. So we encourage people to communicate. We'll be doing a lot of video series like this. We'll be doing a lot of other communications, and we're encouraging people just to keep an eye out for these communications. Talk about it.
That's fantastic. And Garth, look, you know me personally, I think awareness is key. So getting the word out there, sharing more information, and even celebrating more of the successes so that people are aware. Reading the news, it's just negative the whole time because it just gives you what's bad about the country. But I think there's a lot of good that's being done, and we're just not getting that message out enough. So I think that's essential. Garth, that basically brings us to the end of our conversation. I want to thank you very much for availing yourself, and thank you very much for coming to talk to us and sharing some insights into the ICB. I personally think you guys are doing a fantastic job, so well done on that, and seriously keep it up. And I really hope the ICB grows from strength to strength, and some of the sideline players comes on board, and so that we can have a bigger impact in the industry and in the country. Thank you very much, guys. To our audience, look out for Garth is coming back shortly, and we'll be unpacking a bit of ICB strategy for the years to come. So please be sure to join in with us again. Thanks a lot for your time. Cheers, Garth.